live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waudo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, U.S. President Donald Trump scores President Bola Tinubu high in the fight against insecurity, sends letter of commendation after military neutralized some ISWAP members. It will no longer be business as usual as Inspector General of Police gives marching orders to commissioners of police to ensure improved service delivery and shun corruption. Governor of Kaduna State identifies justice, equity and inclusive governance as critical to tackling insecurity in Northwest region, asks states in the region to identify drivers of insecurity. And Ukrainian president dismisses the country's army commander-in-chief just days after the removal of a popular defense minister, Mikhailo Fedorov. And on business news, federal government targets more than $50 billion in investments to drive industrial growth.
On sports news tonight, the Federation of African Football CAF announced 100% increase in prize money for Women's African Cup of Nations champions to earn $2 million.
And from the nation's capital, Senate adopts key resolutions aimed at strengthening the regulation, coordination and accountability of foreign aid in Nigeria. Tonight, with a thumbs up for President Bola Tinubu, as U.S. President Donald Trump has commended him for efforts in tackling insecurity in Nigeria, especially attacks affecting Christian communities. In a letter dated July the 6th, 2026, and made public by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, President Trump says he is honored to stand with Nigeria in the fight against terrorism and to help make the country stronger and more prosperous. And according to President Trump, the U.S.-Nigeria relationship is crucial at this time, and the expectation is that an end is put to the conflicts across the West African region and beyond. President Trump also says that Nigeria-U.S. 2026 Defense Cooperation Roadmap remains a framework for both countries for confronting terrorism. Meanwhile, as reactions continue to trail that letter from President Donald Trump, the Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Policy and Communication, Daniel Bwala, while speaking on our political program, Politics Today, says that over time, Nigeria and the U.S. military have strengthened their intelligence sharing and collaboration, and this is the result of the progress seen in the war against terror. And according to him, Nigeria-U.S. security relations remain robust.
It is the recognition of the result of a collaboration that has assumed a very deeper and commendable level. The second in the command in ISIS globally was eliminated in Nigeria because of the joint operation. We eliminated and stopped their attacks because of the joint operation. We have deepened the collaboration to a point where we share intelligence, we have local training, and then you have the strike. So even last week, the one of the high officials in the U.S. government was here. The letter typifies, exemplifies, and explains the progress we have made so far with the United States, and we have similar progress with the rest of the world. The metrics is the progress we are making, which is resulting in the report you are hearing, including the present report that the President of the United States lauded Nigerian government for this deeper collaboration and the progress it's making. America is the strongest secured country in the world. But 2 months ago, you know that there was attempt at the president twice. Insecurity is an ongoing thing. We have repaired, we have resolved, reduced the attack. We have gone on the offense. There are so many things to talk about so that woman in the rural area, that man in the rural area will rather be encouraged that progress is made rather than doomsday conversation that nothing is happening.
Are we saying we are holding our ground and we're not allowing our sovereignty and any inch of it to be lost in the name of diplomatic or assistance?
Lost in what way? Lost or to be invaded or to...
We have American boots on the ground. That's the question.
For training, yeah. They are not involved in active fight with people. It's for training. Those ones that came for the operation was an agreement between the two governments. Let me tell you.
What was their focus?
I'm coming. Even in England, in Europe, the entire Europe, there are American presence here and there through collaboration. What we have said from the beginning we did not agree to was to come without our consent, because under United Nations Convention, there are 3 areas by which a foreign soldier can be in another foreign soldier. Number 1 is when the United Nations pass a resolution in a situation of a crisis in a country and they send troops. Number 2, if there is an agreement between both countries. And number 3, if there is war between those countries. And the one that has happened is the agreement between us.
The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has ordered commissioners of police and other senior officers across the country to strengthen intelligence and surveillance, improve intelligence gathering, and deepen collaboration with other security agencies in order to tackle insecurity in the country. Speaking in Abuja at the strategic meeting with senior police officers, Mr. Disu says the successes recorded by the force in recent months in the fight against criminality must be sustained.
It is the monthly strategic meeting of the Inspector General of Police with senior officers from the rank of Commissioner of Police and above. 1992. The meeting begins with the decoration of 13 senior officers with their new ranks.
Effective policing starts with effective leadership. As commissioners of police and strategic commanders, you are the custodian of public confidence in your commands. Leadership is not measured by the authority you hold. It is measured by the standard you set, the confidence you inspire, and the results you deliver. I expect every commissioner of police to lead with purpose, keep their command operationally ready, and hold officers to standard of professionalism, discipline, respect for the rights of every citizen. Corruption, extortion, abuse of authority, unlawful detention, and any other form of unethical conduct undermines everything we are trying to build.
Done with the decoration, the IGP underscores the importance of leadership as she warns against corruption and unprofessional acts by police officers. The Inspector General of Police charged the senior officers to lead with integrity, shun corruption in order to build public trust and confidence.
Distinguished senior officers, what we are trusted with goes beyond running a public institution. We are responsible for public confidence and national stability and the democratic value this republic stands on. As we return to your command, I ask you to turn to this discussion into real, measurable outcomes. Lead with vision, supervise with diligence, hold the line on discipline, back innovation, strengthen your ties with communities and with sister agencies, invest in your people. Every generation of public police leadership faces a moment that defines the institution's future. I believe this is one of our own. What shapes the future of policing in Nigeria will not be the difficulty of the challenges we face, but the vision, professionalism, and the unity we bring to meeting them.
The meeting, which continued behind closed doors, is a monthly exercise which provides an opportunity to senior police officers to meet with the Inspector General of Police to review security strategies.
Over in Kaduna State, the governor, Senator Obasani, has identified justice, equity and inclusive governance as critical to tackling insecurity in Nigeria's northwest region, describing the insecurity challenges as largely economically driven. The governor was speaking when he received members of the Implementation Monitoring Committee of the National Economic Council in his office in Kaduna.
Members of the National Economic Council Implementation Monitoring Committee are on a courtesy visit to Governor Obasani of Kaduna State as part of the committee's mandate to assess the state's implementation of key decisions of the council and resolutions, review the progress of development and programs in the state.
We are simply here to monitor all the laudable projects you are doing in the state, the legacy projects, assess the level of implementation of NEC resolution, as it will form basis for peer review for other states. Once the report is ready, other states will come here to learn your best practices, while Kaduna State will go to other states to learn other things they are doing very well. The whole essence of the visit is to encourage healthy competition among states.
Addressing the delegation, Governor Sani outlines the state's approach to tackling insecurity, stressing that justice, equity, and economic inclusion are central to achieving the prevailing peace in the state under the Kaduna Peace Model.
Competition among states.
From our statistics and data, we realize that we lost more lives as a result of ethno-religious crisis in Kaduna than even the issue of banditry. And that is the reason why we sat down holistically and look at the situation. And we realize that the first thing we need to do is to look at the symptoms and the drivers of insecurity in Kaduna. So when people say they want to copy our model is simple, but it's a model that you have to establish it. But the most important thing about the model is to allow the communities to own it, to drive it, to believe in it. Because when we came in, we realized that there are a lot of trust deficits between the government and the people.
The governor also highlights his administration's achievements in agriculture, infrastructure, and healthcare, presenting them as examples of development initiatives that support security and economic growth.
So on the issue of infrastructure, for us, we are not only focusing on urban renewal. We believe the rural transformation is very important. That is the only way we can address even the issue of rural and urban migration, which has really affected us in addressing the issue of insecurity in our state.
The governor urges states to address the root causes and drivers of insecurity within their jurisdictions before adopting any external model.
Moving now to the Green Chamber, where the House of Representatives has called on the federal government to adopt a national drone industrialization policy to help strengthen Nigeria's defense manufacturing capacity. The motion, which was sponsored by the chairman of the House Committee on Public Assets, Mr. Ademori Kuye, urged the government to support indigenous drone manufacturers, promote technology transfer, establish defense industrial zones, and review existing laws to boost local drone production. Our correspondent, Sarah Achimogu, reports.
It's the second day of plenary for the week in the House of Representatives, and the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives is presiding over the session. The order for the day is packed full as members listen keenly to debates on bills and motions while making their inputs.
The need to adopt
a key issue that came to the fore is the need for the federal government to adopt a national drone industrialization policy.
The House is invited to resolve to urge the federal government to provide structured capital support to verified Nigerian drone manufacturing companies through the Bank of Industry, the Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, and other appropriate financing vehicles to enable them to scale operations and meet military procurement standards.
The bill enjoys the support of members and is referred to the Committees on Defense, National Security and Intelligence, Science and Technology, as well as the Committee on Industry and Commerce for further review.
An alternative access road.
Also, the House of Representatives urged the Federal Ministry of Works and the Federal Capital Territory Administration to prioritize the ongoing alternative federal access road linking Abuja to Nasarawa State. The House also called for the reconstruction of the Mutumbiu to Garba-Chede Road in Taraba State.
Urge the Federal Ministry of Work in collaboration with the FCT administration to undertake a comprehensive technical and engineering feasibility study on the development of an alternative route linking the Kefi-Karo axis to the FCT center, including possible alignment through Mpape, Asokoro, or any other corridor.
Note that the Mutumbiu Garba-Chede Road, with a total length of 48 kilometers in Taraba State, was constructed in the early 1980s and has deteriorated significantly due to the lack of maintenance. Disturbed that the road is currently in a very bad shape riddled with potholes, gullies, and sections that are completely impassable, especially during the rainy season.
The House also mandated an investigation into the activities of mining marshals over allegations of corruption. This follows a motion alleging that over 2 billion naira was traced to a former state commander.
Convinced that these operational and financial anomalies directly undermine Nigerians' economic interests, resulting in mineral revenue leakages, heightened insecurity, and deterioration of investor confidence in the solid minerals sector.
The House Committee on Solid Minerals Development is mandated to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the activities of mining marshals and report its findings to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Sarah Achimugu, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, the Federal High Court Lagos fixes July the 24th to rule on an application by the NDLEA seeking permission to destroy a clandestine methamphetamine laboratory uncovered in the remote forest in Ogun State. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. U.S. President Donald Trump scores President Bola Tinubu high in the fight against insecurity, sends letter of commendation after the military neutralized some ISWAP commanders. It will no longer be business as usual as the Inspector General of Police gave marching orders to commissioners of police and other senior officers to ensure improved service delivery and shun corruption. And Governor of Kaduna State identifies justice, equity and inclusive governance as critical in tackling insecurity in the Northwest region, asks states to identify drivers of insecurity. And on the foreign scene, Ukrainian president dismisses country's army commander-in-chief just days after the removal of popular defense minister Mikhailo Fedorov. Staying with security matters, the military operation head in Kai has announced the elimination of the Boko Haram and ISWAP air raid commander turned chief photographer and propaganda operative Abu Salim al-Banawi during a failed terrorist attack on a military location last week. A statement signed by the acting military information officer of the operation, Captain Mohammed Goni, Abu Salim was eliminated alongside other members of ISWAP mobile media team, including Abu Amomar Katab and Abu Khalid Usman. Abu Salim al-Banawi previously led cross-border terrorist raids into Cameroon before being reassigned to the group's media wing, where he was responsible for filming terrorist attacks, producing propaganda, and glorifying the group's atrocities in an attempt to recruit impressionable individuals and deceive the public. And away from security matters now, the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has fixed July the 24th this year to rule on an application by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, seeking permission to destroy an illegal methamphetamine laboratory uncovered in the remote forest in Ogun State. Justice Musa Kakai fixed a date after holding a special court sitting at the facility in Mowe Village in Ijebu East local government area of Ogun State. Our judiciary correspondent Shola Shieli reports.
The trial started last Thursday, and the agency presented one of its prosecution witnesses who listed some of the items that were recovered here at this site. And then what the court did today is to come physically to have a look and a confirmation of the items listed in the evidence of the prosecution witness.
In the course of the trial, the witness mentioned some chemicals that the court need to see. And that was what brought us here today, to identify the chemicals and tender them. We have succeeded in tendering some, but some are yet to be accepted by the court due to the environment we find ourselves in. You all can see that the environment is not too conducive for somebody to stay too long there. So we have adjourned proceedings to Friday That is 24th of this month.
Let's shift gears now as we head to the nation's capital, Abuja, where Victoria Longjohn is standing by to bring us more on the news at 10. Over to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Anne. We begin here with the Red Chamber as the Senate has adopted key resolutions aimed at strengthening the regulation, coordination and accountability of foreign aid in Nigeria, approving the establishment of a mandatory registration system and a national database for all foreign aid received in the country. The upper chamber also resolved that all foreign aid-funded projects must be integrated into the national budget framework and align with Nigeria's development priorities to ensure better coordination, transparency and value for money.
It was a loaded agenda on the second day of plenary as lawmakers settled in for legislative business. The transparency of foreign aid received in the country, especially by non-governmental organizations, came under focus when one lawmaker raised alarm over issues of false disclosures and diversion.
Foreign aid, once received and applied within Nigeria, constitute public resources and must therefore be subjected to constitutional oversight, transparency and accountability.
Let me even report to you here, sir, that not just the NGOs or the civil society organizations, even within the government circle, a lot of money comes in, nobody's accounting for it.
The argument became more robust as a nexus is drawn between foreign aid and the nation's insecurity challenge.
A lot of NGOs were coming to Nigeria with a lot of funding, and part of that funding is also creating a lot of security risks for the country.
Most of the organizations that came to Nigeria were renting properties in Borno State for 12 years. If there is no oxygen, Boko Haram would not be breathing. We have to track these monies so that we don't end up receiving donations that would tend to destabilize Nigeria and lead to a lot of divisions.
The bill subsequently scales second reading, after which it is expected to proceed for public hearing. The upper chamber also considered a motion on the escalating humanitarian concerns over unsafe mining activities in Kogi State.
Several trucks reportedly sank into mining pits during loading operations, leading to the death of over 20 workers and injuries to several others, thereby exposing the extremely hazardous conditions under which mining activities are presently conducted.
I think the only financial to this ugly scenario is to come up with laws and regulations guiding mining operations in mining communities with a view to not only insulating miners from exploitation, but compensation.
Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate therefore asked the Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals Development to conduct a comprehensive audit of all licensed miners and their areas of operation to strengthen regulation. While the Senate has warned that it will not hesitate to apply sanctions on MDAs that fail to honor legislative invitations, and this followed a point of order raised by Senate Committee on Finance regarding the non-appearance of some revenue-generating agencies at its ongoing investigation of non-remittance of revenue into the Consolidated Revenue Fund. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And after arriving in two batches on July 3 and July 19, following their displacement from South Africa, over 60 Nigerians are beginning life afresh in River State. The returnees, who are temporarily accommodated by the Omega Power Ministries in Alu community, say while they are grateful for the support, rebuilding their lives will require the help of the government for proper integration. Our correspondent Deborah Miefebresima reports.
After the ordeal of being forced to leave their homes and livelihoods in South Africa, they returned with little more than memories of a journey cut short, carrying the weight of uncertainty and the hope of starting again. Following the arrival of the South African returnees, the founder of Omega Power Ministries, Apostle Chibuzo Chinyere, opened the doors of compassion, offering free accommodation, scholarships for their children, and other forms of support in public announcement. More than 60 returnees now find temporary shelter at the OPM-free estate in Alu River State after arriving home empty-handed, faced with the difficult path of rebuilding lives once interrupted. At the facility, a new chapter unfolds. The returnees, once strangers to this space, now begin adjusting to a reality shaped by hope, gratitude, and the search for stability. Behind the closed doors of the accommodations are self-contained apartments, each providing a place of rest for families beginning again. For this family of 6, the camp surroundings offer a temporary anchor after a turbulent journey. They say the environment provides the stability needed while they prepare for the future. Counting the losses left behind, the head of this family, Mr. Davison Okafor, describes the moment as a fresh beginning. He says the promise of education for his children from the OPM founder has renewed his hope as he works to rebuild.
Omega Power Ministry. He gave us accommodation, foodstuff, money, and bed, many things, you understand? So he's a good man. Buy an accident car and rebuild it and sell, you understand? That's what I was doing there. I left my car that side, so even my properties, I left them because I don't want to lose my life because I have family. So I have to run down home with my family when the federal government brought a flight.
For many others, the accommodation, feeding and free education support have become a lifeline after leaving South Africa with almost nothing. Their gratitude is deep, and so is the awareness that this shelter is only a temporary bridge. They appeal to government, corporate organizations, and well-meaning Nigerians to support their reintegration and help them regain independence.
I'm into interior decorator. I design curtains, window curtain, window blind. That's my job. So before they close our businesses. So if I got that money, I would like to open a shop and still start my business back to take care of my family.
The only thing we could try to gather is just the little cloth. So if I should say I should gather everything, maybe close to like almost maybe 4 to 5 million naira.
Present during the visit, the founder of Omega Power Ministries assures eligible returnees of opportunities to rebuild, including employment for qualified nurses and teachers at the OPM-free hospital and schools. He added that school-age children will be enrolled in the ministry's scholarship program when schools resume. While those seeking skills development are encouraged to register at the OPM-free acquisition center. However, he calls on the government to assist their upkeep, noting that sustaining the support remains a major commitment.
If the state government, if the federal government can come in, if NGO, international NGOs can come in and support, well, we're just doing this through tithe and offering is massive. If I tell you it's not heavy, it's heavy. But because of the passion and love, that's why we're doing it. Not that the money is so much, no?
62 returnees are being housed at the OPM-free estate right where I'm standing. And for most of them who came back empty-handed after being dislocated from their source of livelihood and, of course, a place they call home, they are now here to start from scratch. And they say that they can't do this all by themselves, that they would need the government to come in and offer help, even as they are getting help from this kind-hearted individual. From Alu River State, Deborah Mia Fiberesima, Channels Television News.
Now still ahead on the news at 10. The federal government is stepping up efforts to turn more than $50 billion in investment commitments into factories, jobs and industrial growth. That's on Business News. To join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. The 5 governors of the Southeast have resolved to support President Bola Tinubu's re-election in 2027, citing what they described as his administration's unprecedented commitment to the development of the region. The chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum and Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma made this known while addressing members of the Imo State Elders Council and traditional rulers at the Ndubisi Kanu Executive Chambers of the Government House in Owerri, the state capital. Our correspondent Eyutope Kuteyi reports.
Executive Chamber at the Imo State Government House is the venue of a crucial meeting between Governor Hope Uzodimma, members of the Imo State Elders Council, and traditional rulers. The meeting focuses on the development of the Southeast and preparations for the 2027 general election.
Only last week, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu allocated $3 billion to reconstruct this Eastern Rail Corridor, Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. The second Niger Bridge was completed but left without the ancillary roads. The 7 roads, the Phase 2A and 2B access roads, a dual carriageway running from Omonia, Ogunike, through Ogidi and Dempo into Asaba. With 7 bridges, the President flagged it off himself, March 2025. We, the 5 governors of Southeast, we have reviewed all options and decided that we will work with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The governor urges stakeholders in the region to back President Tinubu's second-term bid, stressing that the Southeast support is based on visible infrastructure, ongoing projects, and measurable development rather than political sentiment.
Now, we cannot go back to the old order. We need a united Nigeria, because there is no successful state if you don't align properly with the federal government. And one of the things we discovered, each time election is coming closer, those who come to claim to protect Igbos more than Igbos, who call themselves our friends, will begin to come to create confusion.
On the issue of his successor, Governor Uzodimma calls on traditional rulers and members of the Imo State Elders Council to ensure the full implementation of the Charter of Equity, describing it as the framework for fairness, justice, and political stability in the state.
Now the Charter of Equity is real, and I need your mandate to implement the Charter of Equity. I don't need any help, just your mandate. I will implement the Charter of Equity because that is what will bring peace to Imo State.
With political activities gradually gathering momentum ahead of the 2027 general election, Governor Uzodimma maintains that the Southeast has made its position clear, insisting that the region's support in the election will be determined by performance and tangible development. Ejitope Kuteyi, Channels Television News.
And that's it from Abuja. It's now back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And staying in the southeastern part of the country, this time in Enugu State, where to boost agriculture, the governor, Peter Mbah, has flagged off the 2026 distribution of fertilizers and other farm inputs to 63,000 registered smallholder farmers across the state. He says the move is in line with his administration's commitment to eradicate poverty and growing Enugu State into a $30 billion economy. Governor Mbah warned that distributors must ensure the inputs get to the farmers by sticking to the database. Also warns the farmers against selling the inputs.
To make every hectare.
It's the 2026 Agro-Products Distribution Program by the Enugu State Government, with 63,000 farmers billed to benefit from the exercise. Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah, members of the State House of Assembly, members of the State Executive Council, and hundreds of farmers are gathered at the Michael Okpara Square for the distribution ceremony. The Commissioner for Agriculture, Patrick Ubru, highlights the agricultural inputs, which include seedlings and other farm products available for distribution to the beneficiaries.
Thousands of farmers across this 17 local government area will receive improved rice, maize, tomato, and pepper seed. Of course, for cassava stems, TM419 and improved variety. Then the fertilizer, dry blended fertilizer made by United Fertilizer, and agrochemicals to boost productivity and reduce costs.
The Agricultural Transformation Agenda Support Program Phase 1 Coordinator, Romano Zegba, assures the governor that transparent and well-planned distribution channels have been put in place,
with clergy and community leaders engaged to ensure the items reach the intended beneficiaries.
On our own side, we made arrangements that this simple should take to 260 works in Enugu State through the local governments. Each ward, an average of 180 to 200 farmers will benefit, and each farmer will get one bag of maize or rice, cassava cuttings, herbicides, and vegetable, tomato or pepper.
Governor Peter Mbah says his administration remains fully committed to transforming agriculture as a key driver of the state's economy and improving the livelihoods of farmers across the state.
Nobody should be left in doubt as to the government's commitment in the agriculture sector and what we want to do there. This is a serious business for us. We want to make sure we kiss poverty goodbye here in Enugu State. So we want to elicit the support of our hard-working farmers, all the stakeholders in this value chain, to please work with us. We are committed. We want you to live here with renewed commitment to show that the tomorrow we're talking about that is here.
Beyond the distribution of input, the governor says his administration has established a modern seed testing laboratory and seed gallery, digitally profiled more than 84,000 farmers, and integrated agricultural data into the state's geographic information system to strengthen planning and agricultural development.
Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Remi Tinubu, has pledged 2 billion naira towards the revitalization of the historic Akwete hand-woven textile industry in Abia State in a major push to preserve the country's indigenous cultural heritage and stimulate local textile production. Speaking during her maiden visit to the Akwete Weaving Cooperative Village in Okwa East Local Government Area of Abia, the First Lady says the intervention is aimed at developing the Akwete production hub and boosting the state's economy.
The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, was received in Ukwa East Local Government Area by Governor Alex Otti and his wife Priscilla during her visit to the historic weaving community of Akwete. Senator Tinubu toured the Akwete Weaving Cooperative Society to witness the traditional craftsmanship before heading to a grand civic reception at the Akwete Central School field.
We will continue to partner with you and ensure that the support extended today translates into thriving enterprises, stronger family, preserved heritage and brighter futures for the women of Akwete and indeed Abia State.
Governor Alex Otti launched President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms and emphasized the global potential of the Akwete textile industry.
It takes a man with courage to do what he did in 2023, remove petroleum subsidy and follow suit with the floating of the naira. What has that done? That has freed up a lot of funds that would have been used in financing consumption to doing other things in the federal government, in the states, and in the local governments.
Encouraging the preservation of the craft, Senator Tinubu urged the modernization of the fabric for wider acceptance while keeping its cultural identity intact.
Why not us wearing Akwete? It's a beautiful fabric. And those are the things that they have to modernize. They will make Akwete into our Ipele Angeli. So it won't be the big wrapper. But for me, and for all the notable sons of Igbo land, it's not only Abia State. Rise up to the occasion to preserve this.
The visit culminated with Senator Oluremi Tinubu being conferred with the traditional title of Ugowany of Abia in recognition of her contributions to women's empowerment and cultural promotion.
We head over to the world of business now. Willie Bong is standing by.
Thank you, Anne. And the federal government is targeting the conversion of more than $50 billion in investment commitments into factories, businesses, and jobs as it shifts focus from attracting investors to delivering real economic growth. Now, speaking at the National Council on Industry, Trade and Investment meeting in Enugu, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, said the priority is to turn investment commitments into production, export, and employment while improving Nigeria's competitiveness under the African Continental Free Trade Area. She adds that Nigeria has already recorded $6.1 billion in non-oil exports, while the Bank of Industry has disbursed $636 billion to businesses, with efforts continuing to drive industrial growth and job creation. And with that, we head to the domestic equities market, which reversed the gains we saw yesterday as investors tracked the consumer goods sector. Here's Imijam Nakwa with the details.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report. Well, there was a pullback at the market today, but still have a lot of exciting news coming from the market, especially around First Holdco. So today, we saw First Holdco across the 5 trillion market cap level. Congratulations to them. And then we also saw Mr. Otedola increased his stake, more than 21% stake he has now in First Holdco. So keeping this in the news and keeping investors still running after it. We also saw the top trade, Accessco, 79 billion in volume of trade, GTCO, 34 billion. And of course, all of this reflects in the counter. So let's see what's happening with the sectors. And it shows positive for banking, 1.51% in the green. However, consumer goods saw a lot of profit taken, especially on Nestle, on Boa Foods. That dragged that counter down more than 5%. Oil and gas just couldn't make up its mind, I guess. But at the close of trade, investors took out 8 billion naira from the market, and that brings down our market cap. Remember, yesterday we closed at about 159 trillion, so we've lost that level. For now, all shares 0.51% at 245,418.37. So I guess let's just welcome the bear.
Thank you, Rini. Let's hope it doesn't overstay its welcome. Let's check out the closing numbers for other major equities around the world. And that's business news. I'm Willie Bank. Is back to Anne for more on the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. Let's now join Simon Pusey with more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has dismissed the country's army commander-in-chief, Alexander Syrsky. It comes just days after the removal of the popular defense minister, Mikhail Fedorov, a move that triggered street protests across the country. Fedorov had been widely praised for energizing the ministry and transforming the armed forces, as well as leading a drive against corruption. Syrsky is seen by many in Ukraine as a Soviet school commander, reluctant to implement radical changes in the army. He's been replaced by a popular battle-hardened general. Meanwhile, Ukrainian drones have hit warehouses belonging to Russia's biggest online retailer again, injuring 15 people according to the company's founder and regional governors. Logistics hubs run by Wildberries in 2 southwest cities were impacted by overnight attacks, leading to workers being evacuated. It is the second time Ukraine has attacked the firm's facilities in 4 days, with warehouses in Tambov and Elektrostol hit on Saturday, killing 8 and injuring 62.
Secretary Hegseth, if you listen to my comments, you told...
The U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has said the war with Iran has cost the U.S. some $37.5 billion so far, an increase of nearly $8 billion since the last estimate in May.
You are asking for unlimited money for bombs when people can't feed their families. And I don't know how this administration intends to defend those decisions to the American people.
Not unlimited bombs, Senator. I'm asking for the right bombs at the right time.
Hegseth told the Senate Appropriations Committee it was urgent that lawmakers approved another $87 billion in congressional funding for the Pentagon, with $67 billion of that destined for operations in the Middle East. The hearing was disrupted several times by anti-war protesters and ended in a shouting match between the defense secretary and a senator.
The men and women are going to be able to do it, but they need to have leadership. When will you show leadership? When will you show leadership?
Why don't you show some leadership and stand up to your fellow Democrats who won't fund the troops, who stand and play partisan politics while you don't give us the money?
It was Hegseth's first appearance on Capitol Hill since hostilities between the US and Iran restarted last week, and comes after 3 American soldiers were confirmed killed in the region. Pressure has been growing on India's government, with thousands of cockroach Ajanta party supporters continuing to protest in the capital Delhi, despite heavy rains. The youth-led movement, seeking education reforms and the resignation of the education minister, got a boost on Tuesday when India's main opposition Congress party leaders protested outside the Prime Minister's house. They were protesting against the brutal police crackdown on Monday's CJP protest, in which dozens of protesters and policemen were injured. At least 12 workers have been killed after a portion of an under-construction tunnel collapsed following a gas explosion in India's northeastern Sikkim state. Rescue operations are continuing to locate 13 others who are reported to be trapped in the tunnel. The National Disaster Response Force said the incident happened around 1.5 kilometers inside the tunnel. Officials in Chile have declared a state of catastrophe in the Coquimbo region and the province of Huasco after heavy rains triggered floods and mudslides. At least 5 people are reported to have died. Chile's disaster response service, Senapred, said the extreme weather has left thousands affected, with more than 99,000 people isolated and several people still missing nationwide. France's parliament has approved a law to ban social media for under-15s from January 2027, making it the first European country to block young people from the platforms. The law will mean everyone in France must verify their age to access social media, and comes as the UK and EU are developing their own limits in response to concerns for children's mental health. French President Emmanuel Macron has welcomed the move, which he had pledged to introduce to mark the end of his decade in office. And body cam and dash cam footage shows the moment a police officer rescued a man seconds before his car was engulfed in flames near Dallas in Texas.
Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out of the car!
Corporal Joshua Swisher was conducting a traffic stop on a motorway when he was alerted to a nearby vehicle emitting smoke.
Come out to the window! Hey, come out to the window! Sir, come out to the window now! Give me your hand! Give me your hand!
Shortly after directing the vehicle to the emergency lane, flames erupted from underneath it, while the driver was still inside.
Okay, come with me. Is he alone? He's okay.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. CAF President Patrice Motsepe has announced a significant increase in the prize money for the winner of the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations WAFCON. The champions of the upcoming edition in Morocco will now walk away with $2 million, up from the previous $1 million payout, while each of the 16 teams would receive $150,000 in participation funding, an increase from $125,000 in the previous edition. The announcement was made earlier today as CAF continues its push to raise the standard and commercial value of women's football across the continent. And Nigeria's Super Falcons are set to play Tanzania's Twiga Stars in a friendly on Thursday, July 23rd, ahead of the Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco. The game will take place by 6 p.m. in Casablanca, and it will serve as a warm-up game for the 10-time African champions. The Falcons are in Group C alongside Malawi, Zambia, and Egypt, with their opening game against Malawi on July 28th. And former world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury says his best is yet to come ahead of a charity fight on Friday in Thailand against Marius Walsh, a 46-year-old Pole dubbed the Viking. The charity fight is widely seen as a warm-up ahead of Fury's longer-awaited showdown against fellow British boxing giant Anthony Joshua, expected later this year.
I paid the price in sweat, tears and blood and hours for over 20 years to be able to do this, and I just feel truly blessed. I'm very happy that I'm 38 in a few weeks, that I'm still active and still going strong, and I still feel like the best is yet to come. This fight is a dangerous fight. Marius is the same size as me, same weight as me. He's had the same amount of fights, if not more than me. He's been in there with the most elite level champions out of two generations, 2 eras. Let me tell you, Marius Watt would put his fist through Joshua's opponent, whoever he is, Mr. Pringles. This man would knock him spark out, a real fighting man. But we're not interested in other people. This is my show, and I'm not interested in what's going on elsewhere with Joshua or Wilder or Usyk or anybody.
That sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. U.S. President Donald Trump has called President Bola Tinubu high in the fight against insecurity. He sent a letter of commendation after the military neutralized some ISWAP members. It will no longer be business as usual, as Inspector General of Police has given marching orders to commissioners of police to ensure improved service delivery and shun corruption. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night rest.